Why the fuck is it so light outside in the middle of the night in winter? Let's explain that. So, these photos were taken at my apartment and at my university campus at like 8 o'clock at night. Not super late, but still late enough to be dark. But it is not very dark. Why? This is due to an effect called snow albedo. So albedo in general is basically the light refractivity of a surface. The surface has a high, mid, low albedo depending kind of on the color and the reflectiveness. So low albedo surfaces are things like concrete or like asphalt or stuff like that, or as well as large patches of forest, where they tend to be quite a bit darker and not very shiny and reflective. Other surfaces, such as light sand or snow or things that are very light colored, tend to have an high albedo, which means they reflect and refract a lot of light. Now, snow in specific is very, very light colored, being white, and also very, very reflective due to the crystalline structure of the snow. So snow has a very high albedo, meaning that it reflects a lot of light. So dark surfaces that are like colored black and everything, black absorbs all of the wavelengths, it absorbs everything and none of it is bounced off. White is the opposite. It doesn't absorb anything and all of the different wavelengths are bounced off of it. Other colors such as red absorb every wavelength except for the red one, and that bounces off, and that's what creates the red coloring. So snow albedo is kind of a more specific term referring to the like really, really reflectiveness of snow, which creates the effect of it being very light out even when it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, midnight, 3 a.m. This is my apartment that same night, but a few hours later, the view from my window, and you can see it is very light out, much lighter than you would expect at like 1 a.m. This is due to kind of two things in this situation. One, light reflecting entirely off of snow, so all of the light that is from the houses, the moon, the street lamps, it is bouncing off of the snow. There's also quite heavy cloud cover too, so all of the light also bounces off the clouds and not just the snow. They're kind of like pinging off of each other. Because the cloud cover also has quite a high level of albedo, light does tend to bounce off of it very easily. So snow and ice, specifically very fresh snow, like just fallen, like what's in that picture, or what you can see out my apartment window now, even though it is 10:30 in the morning and not at night, so this is during the day, so it's quite a bit brighter. But this super fresh, bright snow will have quite a high albedo index because it is pure and fresh and very, very bright white. Now, interestingly, but not really surprisingly if you think about it, snow and snow albedo effect actually makes light pollution way, way worse. So I've talked about light pollution on here before if you want to scroll down and find it, but basically that's a lot of light coming from unnatural light sources, which causes a number of effects, including impacting wildlife and like not being able to see the stars and like a whole bunch of things, messing with circadian rhythms and all that. So light pollution, not a great thing. And snow, since it's so reflective, it increases light pollution a ton. So if you have like one light bulb on its own, that's fine if it's just surrounded by like brown and like the buildings and the dirt and grass and all that, it's not gonna do a ton. But if you have that where it's a light bulb with a bunch of snow, the light bulb, instead of getting absorbed by the colors of like the ground and the buildings, it's going to just get bounced off and reflected all over, making it have a way more effect and like light up more space, kind of. Not really, but look like it's creating a lot more light than it actually is because all of the light is being bounced around. So, by having a lot of things that cause light pollution by themselves, like houses, streetlights, all that, by adding snow with a high refractivity, it will cause way more light pollution because all of the light getting bounced around like crazy. So there really is not much you can do about that beyond removing the sources of light pollution, which we can't really do entirely because, like, we need light. But that's just an interesting side effect of lights in cities and also snow. So this is really just a long-winded way of saying why it's so fucking light out during the middle of the night in winter.